And this has happened in history. Great. I think of this whole, I'll tell you, mountain that came down, the divine right of kings. If you lived in Europe in the Middle Ages, or in some cultures on the planet are still dealing with this one, that is a falsehood mountain. Okay, even God told Israel, you guys don't really want to have a king. It is not the best system. Okay, so the divine right of kings, that's a real mountain out there, but it's a falsehood mountain. It is not an institution, and the way it turned out in Europe, that just really, I wouldn't go into that, but that came down. Here we have a great nation today founded finally on a government that is actually set up, again, the way ancient Israel set it up, with three branches, a judicial, and you have judges, you have, like our president, that mountain came down. So sometimes, and today, secularism, people pray, these things, every falsehood will come down, and eventually everything will submit. That's just mountains. Let me do one stones, because I've always looked at stones, like, what is up with stones? What are they representing? But this is, okay, letters, okay? Stones represent divine truth in this, and like Yahweh, he is the word. Let me just say, like, I've done some of these, like soul, okay? Let me just digress a minute. I've packed a lot about soul. Is also coded to be a fruit. It's the lamp. It's the Torah. It's the water. It is this whole, a soul. And a soul, we are made up of a soul. We have a body. We have a soul. And we have a spirit, okay? Adamic man has a spirit. Oh, this I have to go to let me get over to this point now that I did mention. Because this is what I've been trying to figure out. Is there a difference between the Adamites, genetically, this is the whole story of Adam and Eve, and their offspring, and are there other, we know there's Cain, this is another thing, hybrid, the first hybrid, again, Cain, even the Nakash, the serpent, he's not a snake. See, this is, again, he became, this is a typology, a parabolic, and this is in the Old Testament, why God doesn't let you eat creeping things that are low to the ground, that they're just they're so sneaky. They're just, a lot of these things represent a lot of times how you're sneaky, kind of trying to come in undercover, and you're not going to really see it. Snakes slither through the leaves and the grass, and then boom, they're right. Okay, this is a behavior pattern that is very abhorrent to God. You're supposed to be open and upfront and have just way, okay, deception. Okay, but the two houses of Israel, let me get back to this. Okay, let me get back to this, because this is one of the major points I want to make, because I'm in a great dialogue with someone, and this is important to me, because this is something I'm really trying to figure out in dialogue with the law. We're the Lord, Yahweh. We're in the restoration of all things, meaning two houses. All Israel is going to come together in the last days, and be manifested in all the earth, and people are going to see the vine, the plant, the branch, whatever, that God planted, all Israel, and it's going to surface, and it's going to astound the nations. And people are going, wow, that's okay. But even what I said, I have to give you a lot of backdrop to unflesh that. But what's been going on, and this is my rub, because if you don't, I had to get this totally myself through the Holy Spirit by divine revelation, because it's like we have so lost who we are as Gentile Christians. We think we're something that we're really not, okay? We are the salt of the earth. I will give you that. But what that means, the whole history, I've gone through all teachings on this, and this is very important. This is like Mysteries 101. You got to get this one, and you got to get the whole idea of what happened in the garden. Those are two of the foundational mysteries that you need to build into greater understandings. But as a salt of the earth, and this is where when I keep, and I'm still trying to work it and kind of get it, what's the difference between Adamic man, which has a certain word, Adam, And I unpacked that in one of my shows. And the word ish, which is the other word the Bible uses for humankind. And is there a difference? This is the Gentiles. Why are the Gentiles different than Adam, Israel, the righteous seed? What is this, okay? So I'm still not quite ready to come out. But what I can tell you is what he means by the salt of the earth and why a lot of this interplay with other dimensions right now has really calmed down, and it has. This is why a lot of times but it's going to be like come back in your face like in a heartbeat. This is the point. But because the story with Abraham and his seed and what God did with the 10 tribes, okay, when they were dispersed and they went into all the earth and they intermingled with the Gentiles. And if this is the whole fascinating history that people are unpacking and they're finding them everywhere, and it really did become seed that was scattered to all the nations and intermingled genetically and acted as a preservative, okay? And now I think we have more Adamite genetics into the whole race of humankind than at any other time. That's why it's a lot calmer today. But that's going to change. So I guess as a salt, as a preservative, it's really speaking in a genetic sense, okay? Now, Israel is a term, the house of Israel, that was given to the 10 tribes by Jacob to Joseph to Ephraim. And it's sort of, in the Bible, the code word for talking about these 10 tribes in the whole earth. We as Gentile Christians, most of us, are genetically of that pool with whatever's been mixed and mingled with us of Gentiles. This is why Paul said, Jesus said, I'm coming now in this phase right now, these 2 days, for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Once they're gathered back in, which is when the time of the Gentiles is done, when that pool has been reached, every race, nation, tribe, and tongue, and they've had a chance to come back, to hear the gospel, to understand Yashua and get into a remarried relationship with him, then we're going to go into another phase. We're going to go into now the restoration of all Israel and Judah. Okay, and this is the thing people need to really, because a Gentile Christian, we have to really, you've just got to get this. It's absolutely beautiful and fascinating and true and a huge piece of the puzzle. But Judah, the Jews over in the land, by and large, Judah means two things. It means the tribe of Judah, one tribe, or the Jews, that group that has stayed loyal in the southern kingdom, which never lost their identity, the older brother, which today is still moving forward. Each of us has pretty much done, in one sense, what God asked us to do. The Ephraimites were supposed to go out and mingle with all of the seed of the earth. And Judah the older brother was supposed to stay in the house. Keep practicing those habits, okay? Basically, and there's so much dialogue today as people are coming to this understanding, like, how do you put this thing together? Because it's not for the faint of heart. It's not easy. We're so indifferent. Oh my gosh. But it can be done. With God, all things are possible, and he's going to do it. I mean, he said he was going to do it, so he's going to do it. So you can either be on God's side, on Yahweh's side, and work for the restoration, or you can continue like Paul did and kick against the pricks. And all I can say is I hope God, knocks you off your high horse. Okay, so these things you need to understand. And as we understand, because we got to understand now who we are as all Israel. And when I do like to say this, because when all the prophetic shit hits the fan, you're going to have to rise up. Rise up, oh man of God, do exploits. And this is where we get into some very exciting verses in Revelation, understanding now the 144,000, the two witnesses, okay, coming back, the 144,000. God has a lot of cards he's going to play. And, if you think you're one of the 144,000, what your responsibilities are going to be, what that means. These things are really beginning to be unpacked, to come out. You can have knowledge and wisdom about all this. So these are things so I guess just to recap a couple of the places I went. We need to understand that our ancients, our patriarchs, our fathers in the faith, this whole righteous seed line, starting with Adam going through, there have always been great souls, great men of God, women too. I mean, Deborah was a judge in Israel. I mean, it's not, and how, as Paul says at the end of the age, and it's my opinion again, we're neither male nor female, we're way past all this, but we are one in Christ Jesus. It's just going to be those who are worthy of the Lamb, okay? But we need to understand what's been happening, where we are on the prophetic time, what's coming down, and to take your place. Because I want to read you, I don't know if I can do this because I told you I don't have my glasses. Oh my gosh. All right, so this is out of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is the last Jubilee, and this is another whole piece. My husband does a lot on the Jubilee. He thinks, and the calendar is off, and this is why, to a certain extent, it will take people by surprise because, it's like you think you're in Kansas. No, you're not in Kansas. You never were in Kansas, and you think it's, 2016. No, it's not, okay? So these are going to be things that are quickly going to have to be adjusted. But this is a fascinating, I just don't know if I can see this. Okay, the heavenly deliverer is Melchizedek. Now we know that Yeshua is Melchizedek, truly, and the high priest. In heaven right now, he is there. He really is. He's officiating for us. It's a good thing, okay? Oh, this is, okay, anyways. Okay, he is identical, and this is identical with the archangel Michael, and he is also identical with Metatron. Now, one of these people need to understand is Yeshua has been given a name that is above all names, right? Okay, so what does that mean? He is next to the Father. He sits on the right hand of the Father. All authority has been given unto him. I mean, these are verses in the New Testament we understand. He is in an exalted position. What this means is, over all the different realms and dimensions, he is the most exalted. He is the high king. That's why he's called Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and he is under the Father as the high God, okay? I mean, Yahweh the Father is the most high God. And just let me throw this out there, because in Hebraic understanding, you have to understand, you got to take away gender to a certain extent, because when you get into the celestial realms, this is why Yeshua said they don't marry or give in marriage in the celestial realms, because it's different. Okay, so Abba, Jesus, our Father, Jesus taught us how to pray. And he said, say Abba Father. Abba is a compilation of two concepts: the Abba, the male and the female attributes of God. God is originally actually an androgynous type of being. He has great compassion. He represents in his archetypology the male and the female, okay? So in Yeshua, we have a high priest, but it's so much better people get away from the lower level understanding of gender, especially when it genders lust, which is the problem we have today, because we have a whole world that thinks they're in love, quote unquote, but they're really in lust. Totally different things. All right, I want you to say, because Yeshua, when he wants to be an angel, he's Michael. Okay, when he is another dimension, as he's portrayed, he's Metrodon. Okay, in different dimensions, he is a different archetype. Okay, this is what the Bible's been trying to tell us all of. When he came as the Son of Man, he was Yeshua. He was a rabbi. Okay, in Israel at the time, and we can relate to him. He took on the form of flesh when he was here. Okay, now this is something I can't go too deep, but you have to understand that. Okay, and so now we are going to be like him as he is now. All right. So anyways, it talks here about he's identical with the archangel Michael. He is the head of the sons of heaven, or the gods of justice, and is inferred to as either. See, and this is when we're going to come back. We are sons of the living God. We are now in a realm. We are up there from a place of authority that in other dimensions. This is why we can use the name of Yeshua, and you know, we can move mountains. This is what he's saying. We don't understand the power that we have, the birthright, the sonship rights, we have inherited, what we have access to in the Father. Okay, because a lot of it we're so dumbed up. We think it's just, oh my gosh, so if I'm a priest, I'm a really high up there. I mean, we so watered this thing down. But let me say, when he comes with his righteous one, with his myriads upon myriads and myriads, this is sort of also type of the 144,000, which I actually, now I was thinking, it must include the most righteous saints of all the 6,000 years. So, you know, Abraham will be there, and those who make the cut. I mean, that's like the highest level. That's like being the seals of God, all right? So, I mean, you know, seriously, if you're going to, I mean, that's what our SEALs do. They're the most trained people on the planet. If you need a really Mission Impossible done or something really covert, you know, you send in the SEALs. Well, this is what, you know, this is sort of where we're going. We're going to totally dethrone Hasatan from his kingdom. He's a cosmocrator. He's a ruler. He is a lord over our realm. And we are going to totally take him out. Well, how's God going to do that? Okay, not by magic and through a technology, through people who, you know, who understand how to use the name of Yahushua and have been given authority. And these people will be anointed like Moses was, like Elijah was, like some of these great saints who do amazing things, okay? And these are like the SEALs. These are the crack troops. These are the fully trained, fully armed. They're, you know, and if you look at the things in the, there's a couple places in Revelation, I wish I had these verses ahead of me, you know, the kind of the criterias. But to me, this is all really exciting understanding. And to understand how, you know, this is just really frustrates me now. People, and, you know, unbelievers make fun of the Bible, like, oh my gosh, you know, Adam hated Eve, you know, and they're as clueless as, unfortunately, many of the both houses, Judah and Ephraim, those are code words for the two houses, are to their own history and what's really going on. And it's time to, this is why it says to grow up, to handle the meat of the word, to be able to rightly divide, and to be 100% holy and pure, and be in a place where Yahweh can use you. Because I mean, you know, I guess I feel called, I'd love to be one of the sons of heaven, you know, called. And okay, so then so this is sort of what I wanted to say, because I do want to get into, this is who, it's not politically correct. Let me put it that way. A lot of the Bible knowledge is not politically correct in the sense, and this is one of my things, that there truly are, okay, while there's the sons of heaven, there's 144,000 in training today, I believe this, Hasatan has a whole army. And his army, let me tell you what, isn't just made up of humanoids, Adamites, okay? He's got all sorts of things that is going to be used, which the Bible has told us about in stories, we think the stories, like what happened before the flood, where they re-engineered the whole creation and created all sorts of chimera and beasts and crazy things, okay, that we think are crazy, which, you know, technology, if you know what you're doing, isn't that difficult. They're doing it today. This is where you can understand the sophistication of the dark side. Unfortunately, the dark side has a lot more, it's kind of sad. I guess you could say there's a lot more people who are knowledgeable about using the technologies for the dark side than it might seem, and let's hope it's not really, of the true Son of God, of the sons of heaven using for the crushing of Hasatan, okay? But it is going to change, and Yah knows what he's doing, and I'm not into the hand wringing kind of thing. And so we're going to go into a lot more deeper stuff and understanding. But I did just want to say all that. I hope it made sense. I hope it blesses some people. Again, it's time. If you've been a Christian for 20 years, 30 years, you need to stop listening to the milk of the word. You need to believe you have the mind of Christ. You need to begin to ask to be led into all truth. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to say good night and shalom, and God bless you in Yeshua's name.